Hello, this is welcoming you to episode 4 of States of the State Bayelsa 2019. In this episode, focuses exclusively on the economy. In other words, everything is about the economy, and there is the need for us to impress that upon governorship hopefuls. Before we begin, I'd like to announce that State of the State Bayelsa 2019 remains a personal effort of Frank and Paul with a view to actively getting involved in the political process that will enthrone a government, a new one in Creekhaven on February 14, 2020. Frank, here we are once again.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Paul.
Right. Focus this on this episode is on the economy, and with respect to the economy, we'll be talking about wealth creation, job creation, formalizing the economy, and then addressing poverty and improving the living standards of the people. And so let's begin with formalizing the economy.
Yeah, Mr. Paul, thank you for bringing that to the table. I think we are now going through another political era, another political dispensation is about to be ushered in. So, this is when we have to make governorship hopeful to understand that there are certain priorities we have as a people, as a state. There is high level of poverty in Bayelsa State. There is insecurity in Bayelsa State. And all of that can be traced back to the deplorable state of the economy. So in this political era, the most important topic is the economy. Any aspirant who is not talking about the economy is not even ready. It should be all about the economy, nothing more but about the economy. That with respect to formalizing the economy, then one can say that they can start by looking into government sector, government-owned companies. We've got a lot of companies. The Bayelsa state government has got over 20 companies registered. These companies are parasitical on the government. They are parasites. They are actually making things difficult for the government. The question is, why can't they be productive as companies should be, or our companies have all around the world? Why do we have our own so different? So we should ask this: if government or these people coming in, as the case may be right now, can focus on what has made our companies to be ineffective, and then taking care of government-owned companies, then they should think of how the private sector can be brought along. So they should think about this line. But the most important thing, we can't just be or have or continue to have a formalized economy. There is need for the economy to be formalized, and that should be there should be what one might call a database economy. That's
But,
what
but, but I totally agree with you because for now, we cannot talk of an economy in Bayelsa State, and that has been my problem. Whenever I talk about Bayelsa's economy is on the table, I feel as though that we shouldn't be talking about the economy yet. Rather, we should be talking about how do we install an economy, a formal economy in place. Okay, let's assume there is an economy already, but that economy is too informal that there is the need to formalize it.
Absolutely.
I totally agree to that because without a formal economy, we would not be talking about things like rate of unemployment, inflation rate, GDP growth rate, consumer confidence. These are the tools with which an economy is gauged, and these are the things with which an economy becomes formal. And so, how do we begin to go about ensuring that our economy is formal? And that, to address that, needs governorship hopefuls to be coming up with strategies with which they will begin to ensure that state-owned companies are run as though they are private companies.
Of course.
Yeah, even if the rules are still public rules, at the end of the day, if they're declaring profit or loss, Bayelsans will be happy. to understand that, okay, state-owned company A is doing well while state-owned company B is not doing well, and then hold the appropriate quarters responsible for why but A is doing well and B is not doing well. That should be the starting point with which an economy should become formal. And so, straight away, let's go over to addressing poverty and improving the living standards of the people. Poverty and the economy, I guess, but there is always a link.
Yeah, poverty and the economy, there is always a link. The poverty of status of a particular society is predicated on the economy of that particular society. That in the case of Bayelsa State now, there is high level of poverty, and that is because there is very low level of economic activities in the state. Okay, when we talk about formalizing an economy, it is not just all about getting it like the American way overnight. It is first of all, we try to make what we've already got to work, like the government-owned companies to work, the private sector to work. But the most important thing, government or governorship, the governorship officials should look for ways and means to identify what is, I always say this, identify what is traditional to us. It will be easier for us as a young people to do what we've always been doing. Take for instance, if you were developing, you're trying to use sport as a tool to developing an economy, you don't have to use football as Bayelsans. Because football is not traditional, even though we love it, it's not traditional to us. But there are other sports that are almost culture to us, like swimming. Take for instance, wrestling. These things, we find it very easy developing that. And the society love this. They've accepted this for hundreds of years. So it will be easier to get an economy around that from the point of view of sport than going straight to football. So they should identify what is traditional to us. They should know that the reason we are poor is because the economy is not working. We do not have much time, but then to briefly put it this way, like the restoration government tried several ways to make sure the economy is activated. They tried it, then along the line got frustrated and they abandoned the economy. They started by trying to come up with international economic summit, by trying to bring in foreign investors. But at the end of the day, they were made to realize that the thing is not about bringing in investors. The thing is how we can create investors in our society. Until we've been able to create internal or domestic investors to invest in our domestic economy, we are going nowhere. Mr. Paul?
And I guess it would be a better point for us to bring in governorship hopefuls, what some of them have been saying with respect to the economy. Someone like Kamala Okara, the current SSG, says he would reject the economy using the abundant resources of our natural gas and natural our gas resources that are in abundant supply, and I wonder how he intends going about that. He didn't talk in depth about the strategy, but using our natural gas resources to rejig and revamp our economy. Let's.
I'm so happy. First and foremost, he identified something so significant. First and foremost, he identified the fact that there is poverty in our society, joblessness in our society, and there is a need for job creation. Then, apart from that, second, he identified one particular sector, gas. Okay, we have got gas all over the place. Then, how can gas be used to bail our economy out of this present state? And this is an industry we are actually far away from, even though we have the gas, or even though we have the oil. We don't participate in that economy. In the sector, sorry, in that sector. Okay, yeah, Bayelsa, we've got gas, we've got oil. But what about the specialists? Have we got the human capital required to take advantage of the gas sector? Or if he comes in as the governor, is he going to create a brand new human capital to take advantage of that? And how long will that take? It is not enough for him to say, well, gas, that is good, but it is capital intensive for gas to sustain our economy. It will take us cost us a lot of money before the gas will begin to sustain our economy, except we're going to get into some kind of agreement with some kind of company. But even at that, we can't. We know that the gas, the Bayelsa State gas, does not belong to us, it belongs to the federal government. So we can't even do that. So one will expect him, yes, he has made a statement. One would expect him to come up with plain explanations as to why that is possible.
Let's talk about Igali, Bolade Igali. He talks about the need to making Bayelsa a productive society, making Bayelsa so productive that everybody will be producing something. Of course, a society that is in dire need of a formal economy will be one that is producing. Only producing societies have good economies that are formal and active and vibrant, and so that is beautiful. But then it passes for a beautiful rhetoric.
Egali is, we've always bring in Egali. He seems to be a very lucky guy. We give people one slot, but he has gotten two slots. That said, yes, he identified Hagrid, and he said there is need for job creation. Job creation, jobs, jobs, and jobs. Okay, fine. How do we do that? He said agree. Then how exactly is he going to use agree? Okay, given our political history with the different government, they always pin their economic strategies around agree, and they've all done one thing or the other. Is he going to come up with something different? They've all been producing or providing fertilizers, soft loads, all these kind of different things. And he's talking about Hagrid. He's going to use Hagrid to create jobs. That is what he's going to do. And exactly how he's going to do that? Is he going to replicate what has been done over the years, over and over and over, and just try to do it differently? Or is coming up with something completely different? But then turning everybody in Bayelsa State to be productive within this short period of time, 6 months period of time. I wonder how he hopes to do it. But he said Bayelsa State can be turned into a producing society where everybody produces something. So that's good.
Let's equally talk around the point that most of the governorship hopefuls have not said something concrete with which we can analyze around. We've got a whole list of names to actually talk about, but we really can't talk about them because they've not said anything concrete. Even some of the things that are written on their posters are not things to talk about. So some posters I even suspect are not even from these governorship hopefuls. And so we have a whole list here, but I can't even call them out because they've not really talked about anything with respect to the economy that is worth analyzing exhaustively on. And so again, we've talked about Timalabi, but again, he has said something, a couple of things, beautiful things that we should reiterate here. Timalabi talks of the ability to attract private capital with a view to financing your development investment, and he said he's got that ability to attract private capital into financing our developmental efforts, and that is something beautiful. As to whether he truly has that ability or not, I'm not yet to talk about that. I have no way of knowing, but he said that he's got that ability, and that's critical. Of course, if we want our economy to be a vibrant economy to be installed, one that everybody would appreciate, certainly it requires more than just what is coming to us as allocation from Abuja. And so someone who will say, I am going to attract private capital from around the world to finance our development efforts is something truly something to be appreciated.